Today is Tuesday, June 16, 2026. In the early morning darkness of the Strait of Hormuz, where Persian Gulf waters meet the Gulf of Oman, electronic signals pierced the silence as Chinese warships locked targeting radars onto a United States Navy destroyer, enforcing a blockade on Iranian oil exports amid rising tensions. 22nd Your Times.
The tension between Iran and America is reaching a whole new level, and the world is divided. But the real question is, who do you stand with? America has official live voting open right now to see where the public support lies. If you love America and want to show your support, go to the description or the pinned comment right now. If you are using an Android, click the Android link, and if you are on an iPhone, click the iOS link. Just complete the quick 1-minute verification to make your vote count officially, and let's show the strength of America. Go vote now.
Commercial satellite imagery showed two advanced Type 052D destroyers of the People's Liberation Army Navy escorting a massive Chinese supertanker loaded with strategic crude pushing forward through this critical choke point that handles nearly 20% of global petroleum trade. Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps fast attack boats fanned out in coordinated patterns, creating layered threats that strained American sensor networks, while waves of Ababil and Shahed drones saturated the airspace, forcing heightened alerts across the blockade line. This calculated probe tested American resolve in one of the world's most vital energy arteries, where any escalation could disrupt supply chains from Asia to Europe and link directly to broader geopolitical pressures. Defense officials weighed private concerns about resource strain, noting how Hormuz instability could worsen European energy markets, already navigating adjustments from Ukraine-Russia dynamics, and affect United States naval positioning near Taiwan. The Type 052D vessels with their Type 346 phased array radars shifted to fire control modes, illuminating the American ship in a digital elevation of stakes that naval planners recognized as a profound operational shift, without immediate kinetic crossing, yet introducing severe risks in the narrow waterway. Iranian coastal batteries appeared to leverage shared targeting data, complicating the tactical picture for Aegis combat systems aboard the Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, which processed multiple sea-skimming C-802 cruise missiles, hugging wavetops at subsonic speeds. SM-6 intercepts launched from vertical cells lit the sky in controlled explosions, depleting munitions stocks and exposing vulnerabilities in prolonged high-intensity scenarios, far from resupply. F-35C stealth fighters from a carrier strike group in the Arabian Sea fused data with MQ-9 Reaper drones and P-8 Poseidon aircraft, providing overhead reconnaissance that underscored calibrated deterrence amid intense calculations on escalation thresholds. Energy markets reacted sharply, with Brent crude futures spiking on fears of eroded insurer confidence in Gulf routes, compounding economic pressures felt across global chains. And if you are finding value in this detailed daily breakdown, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more in-depth analysis connecting these critical developments. Military movements revealed NATO and allied concerns with Virginia-class submarines and additional Arleigh Burke vessels, reinforcing presence quietly as officials balanced overcommitment risks against freedom of navigation necessities. In parallel, Russia-Ukraine operations continued influencing energy flows, with Russian export adjustments straining European supplies and heightening Middle East sensitivities, as oil price volatility could impact Ukrainian defensive sustainment reliant on Western support. Open-source intelligence tracked Iranian drone network deployments, drawing from regional lessons, while Chinese involvement layered great power competition onto the scene, highlighting how a single incident could interconnect Taiwan tensions through shared naval allocations. Electronic warfare from Chinese destroyers created protective bubbles around the supertanker, degrading American targeting and forcing reliance on multi-domain airborne assets. This exposed contradictions between public de-escalation rhetoric and operational friction points, as Iranian speedboats armed with rockets accelerated testing response times and risking misidentification in congested waters. What emerged was deeper insight into United States Navy reliance on sophisticated command networks, integrating stealth aircraft countermeasures and allied intelligence sharing to maintain the blockade. Pentagon assessments reportedly focused on fears of exhausting munitions critical for Indo-Pacific contingencies, while Russian strategies around Crimea adjusted, influencing global pricing and production timelines under sanctions. South China Sea patrols monitored Chinese activities around Taiwan with vigilance, recognizing perceived weaknesses in Hormuz might embolden actions elsewhere in this interconnected strategic system. The tanker incident highlighted institutional hesitations, where leaders delayed full escalation to avoid wider conflicts, destabilizing economies amid inflation from energy swings. Open-source analysts using commercial imagery revealed deployments contradicting routine exercise narratives pointing to deliberate leverage positioning. That drone crossing the perimeter shifted temperatures dramatically, showing how micro-events cascade into air defense challenges against saturation attacks. The real pressure mounted through small operational fears like overloaded radars or electronic interference that could transform managed situations into uncontrolled ones. And if you are finding value in this detailed daily breakdown, make sure to subscribe to the channel to stay ahead of these evolving global shifts with unfiltered insights. Geopolitical forecasting stressed defense technology roles with Aegis upgrades and F-35 sensor fusion pivotal in reconstructing pictures after communication damage on the forward destroyer. The suicide drone blast, though, limited severed links, relying on E-2D Hawkeye coordination to reconnect fleet systems. This exposed littoral's vulnerabilities, where electronic shadows complicated friend-foe identification amid civilian traffic, potentially serving as launch platforms. Economic consequences included rerouted shipping, increasing premiums, and times with direct hits on Asian economies dependent on Gulf imports. Alliance tensions surfaced as European partners worried over Mediterranean spillover, while NATO strategies reflected multi-theater strains. Moldova border activities with Ukraine added dimensions as Russian posturing tested commitments amid Hormuz focus. Chinese warships, after exchanges, deployed smokescreens, masking withdrawal in calculated risk management, yet setting precedents for future deterrence erosion. Intelligence tracked selective leaks shaping narratives, while satellite evidence showed persistent pressure. As hours progressed, the standoff stabilized uneasily, with the supertanker diverted through combined firepower restraint and backchannels, yet underlying tensions exposed global energy security fragility. Ukraine saw Russian localized adjustments, with Ukrainian defenses using Western systems to counter amid resource constraints tied to oil fluctuations. U.S.-China dynamics extended with Hormuz, influencing Taiwan planning, where DF-21 missiles featured in simulations. The global system strained under sanctions affecting munition capacities, heightening naval operation stakes. Institutional fears centered on accidental launches, drone swarms, or cyber disruptions, all capable of sparking wider conflict. Open-source discoveries often outpaced official releases, fostering hidden reality perceptions. The Chinese escort timing raised coordination suspicions with Iranian forces, complicating alliances. What terrified markets was not just strikes, but transit confidence erosion, leading to sustained instability affecting industries worldwide. Further details showed F-35 persistent surveillance, enabling surgical responses, minimizing risks while maintaining superiority. Electronic exchanges highlighted surgical jamming, preserving friendly systems and disrupting adversary links, causing drones to crash. This deepened modern naval combat understanding, where invisible domains decide outcomes. Parallel Ukraine developments included logistics strikes, impacting sustainment and aid strategies linked to Middle East volatility. China-Taiwan simmered with U.S. adjustments illustrating resource allocation challenges. Propaganda framed narratives around sovereignty, while leaks offered nuanced views. The Strait remained focal with its traffic volume, underscoring disruption potentials for worldwide shocks. Observers noted Chinese power projections signaling willingness in distant waters with future maritime implications. Iranian asymmetric assets created ongoing conventional challenges. As tracking continued, new unit details added analytical depth. The situation demanded paramount vigilance given high stakes. Throughout the landscape, Ukraine theater incremental changes prompted countermeasures amid global energy influences on politics. U.S. Pacific strategy adjusted subtly, showing simultaneous deterrence difficulties. Economic indicators suggested trade pattern shifts as companies diversified from vulnerable routes. Intelligence monitored coordination signs, altering threats. Psychological tension for leaders involved balancing pressures in rapid information eras. Tactical imagery showed asset repositioning, conveying resolve. This compilation illustrated complex factors shaping environments where actions multiply across regions. The unfolding events created sustained pressure, with governments navigating narrow error margins. Defense innovations provided edges in contested spaces, yet demanded constant advancement. Audiences gained appreciation for inherent suspense, hinging on judgments and planning. As information surfaced, emphasis stayed on factual grounding with looming stability implications. Naval principles tested in conditions highlighted strengths and enhancements for operations. Economic brief tensions reminded of system fragilities on secure flows. Institutional escalation fears drove cautious containment with contingency prep. The day saw equilibrium in the strait, but clear reignition potentials. Similar patterns in other areas tracked movements reshaping capabilities. The Hormuz challenge exemplified great power interactions in maritime zones, rippling through strategy and economics. Analysts monitored posture shifts, emphasizing open-source verification for complex realities. The fluid character required attention as data contextualized events. This view connected elements into coherent global tensions, demanding careful navigation. The situation remains fluid and sources are open source.